Right. Once you come in, you can't leave. Um, and then let's say they go to, let's try the recipes page because it might be the most complex page, and then maybe we can create a simpler version of that for the other ones.
Makes sense.
So it's going to have a title. And we haven't thought about the navigation yet, how they get back to previous pages, but we will work on that.
Okay.
We can work on that a little bit later. So recipes, it is going to have, it's going to be a big list. What do you think is the primary way that they're going to filter those down? Is it a search? Is it a calendar?
Yeah. The calendar we were thinking should be kind of separate, like maybe at like the top right corner, and then if I don't know like how it would be exactly, but maybe it's something that if they click on it, then it's a pop-up and then they can choose the date, but automatically it'll assume that it's today. And there would be, how we envisioned it, there'd just be a list of recipes by like how seasonal they are right now, and on top they would have a just a search bar, and then they could type in, or it could either be that, or it could really have like you'd search and then it would be like a list would follow, being like price, like the three options that they have. But for now, the most simple way I'd imagine is like a search bar where they just write in whatever, either the product or the price. Yeah, I guess we'd have to have like something that, like when they click and search, then it opens up like something that's scrolled under with either search by price, search by product, or
yeah, I'm just trying, I've got something in mind here.
All right.
So a good thing to do would be to show them something when they start. So have a default result basically, and the default is going to be, say, all recipes with a calendar of today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that's actually crucial for us, because that's part of what we're trying to game, is that they actually see that you can eat with whatever's available at that time of the year, you
the
know?
seasonal aspect. Yeah.
and then let's see, this might be a little description. So recipes are going to have say, let's call it a summary and a detail view. So detail view is going to be the step-by-step and all that stuff. What information do they want to see at a high level to know whether they want to click on it or not? Maybe prep time?
Yeah, prep time.
Yeah, the things that we had searched by. So price, prep time.
Oh, okay, got it.
They could even just we could have like a system where they have like, it's like $1 sign or $2 signs or $3.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. It's basically by product, by prep time, or by
price.
Or by price.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do this.
That makes sense.
Icon and a label. And we'll do
in the calendar.
let's do the clock.
Yeah, but that'll be something. We'll see. But he was thinking of something. To do that.
Yeah.
And then price we'll just do
just $1.
Yeah.
And then can do these.
Nice, making $3.
Yeah.
Lighter.
Oh, cool.
Put these together. Actually, let's make these all smaller. Put that together. Maybe we can make this a little smaller too. we can put those together. We can align all that
Yeah.
Later. And then, so this, we now have kind of our kind of recipe overview widget,
Yeah.
you could call it. And we're going to make a bunch of these. And then we've got the search up here. And now we're going to do the filters. So let's see what happens if we do this. So what are the, when they select the calendar, are they selecting a date range, a season?
The actual date.
Yeah, we think it'd be simpler for them just to choose the date, and then just in the background there is like an automatic thing that we've programmed that like says that this date to this date is this season and this to this.
So for example, recipes would be tagged in the database as to which season they're in, but then the calendar
links to that as well.
Yeah, the calendar would be actually, so for example, we would have 8 seasons because you would have early spring, late spring, early summer, late summer.
But we'd want it to be more automatic so that the user isn't thinking about that necessarily, but they're just like selecting whatever date they're wanting.
What are the scenarios where they would pick something other than today or this week?
It'd be for if they're, yeah, actually that is a good question. What we thought was if they're planning like an event, like a dinner party in a month or whatever. But now that you're saying, it's true that most cases will be for today or this week, which will be the same season. So maybe it's not even a feature that right now we have to think so much about. What do you think, Mom?
Well, I mean, the good news is that if you're just defaulting to today, then they don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll put that in, we'll leave it in for now, and then you can think about it. So they can filter by price, prep time, and product, as well as the date, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the reasons why the recipes are important for seasons, it's not necessarily for them, but because we want to use the same recipes for the farmers market, like for the vendors, and for them, it's really important.
Yeah.
So, but it's possible
calendar.
for this particular page, we don't need anything more than just to default to today or this week.
Prep time, let's do, say, intervals or...
Yeah,
intervals for sure.
And what, let's see, do we have a lot of them? Are they going to, or is it kind of, can it be broken down into like short, medium, long with a certain time frame?
Most people are thinking like, can I make it in less than half an hour?
25 minutes versus, how granular?
Well, I think if we did 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them, that would be enough, because you could do less than half an hour, like the quick ones, the regular ones, which is anything around an hour, and then long, so you do like quick.
Yeah, we could do under half an hour, around 45, and then an hour or more.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we only need 3 of them because most people are either in a real rush or they don't care. And most recipes take 45 minutes to make, so.
Right. So we can maybe make that a little more interactive, or we can think about whether this drop down is the best idea or not later.
I like the idea of a drop down. It's easy.
Yeah. Sometimes the nice thing about having these kind of toggles is that you can see all the choices at once, which might be useful too, but we can fix that later. Let's.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you can actually just choose, if there's only 3 of them anyway, it doesn't take up much space.
Yeah, right. And then the product is going to be a different story because that is going to have a lot more options, correct?
Yeah, that one is going to be, I think that's only going to be a toggle down because you're going to have to get them to choose from the list that's in there, because they're not going to have any idea what products are in there until we put the AI option where they can take a picture of something and just pull it up from. But
not necessarily. They might have like like they just received like salmon in the thing and they can be just searching for, wait, you mean for the products?
Well, if you have a drop down that you can plug in the name, then you could just say kale or salmon, or you could actually just plug the name in and it would show you what's in the app.
Data, but that's a really long drop down.
And will they be able to choose multiple things, or?
Well, we were thinking that we would do it mainly for the one key ingredient that they were using for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it gets really complicated. You could have every ingredient in the recipe into your product. You could do a product for every ingredient in the recipe. Do you really want to look up stuff that has salt in it?
Right, right.
No,
So
but you could be like salt, like kale and potatoes, and I don't know. We definitely have to think a little bit more about the product page.
originally we had thought that it would be fruits. You would choose either fruits or vegetables. But then we decided, yeah, but if we really want to be local product, we should have salad dress. We should have the ability to put any product they want to look for in there.
Right.
But
For lack of,
the thing we care about are fruits and vegetables.
yeah. For lack of a better term, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna call this key ingredient, and I'm gonna do it as a button, and because I think this might be actually kind of fun. So what's interesting is that all of these filters will have a different way of interacting with them, which I think is fine because you want to make that appropriate to the type of type of element that it is. So what if when they click on this button, there's actually something that pops up and shows them a visual representation. So say a bunch of pictures of food that they can then pick.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's really cool.
So we'll create this as kind of a,
how did you do that?
Screen, and maybe design this later, and that will be, we are going to design this later, and so we're going to call this,
Yeah.
I'm going to save that as photos. And then move this over here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so this is kind of our save for later. And there we have our first pass at the recipes.
I'm wondering, what is the if we have the key ingredient as a button, what is the search bar going to be? Because when I was seeing it, I was seeing, okay, so the price filter is like those three things you choose. But would it, like, is it that it's going to look like that, or is this just what the search bar can? I guess the way I was seeing it is that the search bar was then just for the ingredients, and then under that there's the prep time and thing that would be the filter. So now I'm kind of confused what the two.
Got it. That's an excellent question, and I was just kind of getting to that in my own thought process. I think you are right. I think that, you know, so what is there anything they would search for besides ingredients?
I don't think so, no.
Maybe the recipe itself. Well, that's what I thought the search bar was for. It was actually if you say you wanted I don't know, chili. Be able to type chili in and get the recipe.
Okay.
So here's where the doing the wireframing is coming in useful, is that we're only now we're realizing that you had different ideas in your heads for this part of it. But I think that is okay. I think I do like the idea. Let's put this over to the side for now, and let's instead design
you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, let's design a search results screen, and it will have, let me know if this works, it will have two categories. One is products and one is recipe names. Oh, I even have a good example for us. Let's see. Chili peppers and chili.
That is good.
Let's see, is this gonna work? So just to show that, Okay. So let's just get rid of this and let's put this over here. Since this is less prominent, let's just try having this here, and then let's leave this here. Let's put this up here. Maybe space these out a little bit more. Space out vertically, and then just so we don't forget that this is going to do that. And how does that look for our first?
That's perfect.
Yeah. So basically in the search bar that
great.
You'd have both. They can search by ingredients or they can search by recipes.
And maybe it will start auto-filling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, not bad. Let's try another screen. What do you think, vendors? Since that's...
Yeah, I was thinking vendors.
Okay, so vendors. So what are they looking for when they're looking for a vendor? Why are they interested in the vendors?
So I think usually they're going to be, because they want to find nearby vendors where they can buy from, basically. So we were thinking first we were thinking it would really just be a map of all vendors, and then they can like click on one that they're specifically interested in, but we didn't want to limit to that if ever. So we're not sure how it'll look, but basically those are the two things that they want from the vendors, is either a specific vendor profile, they already know that they like that vendor, or maybe they went once and they want more information. They have the vendor profile, and then they have like an overview of all the vendors who are nearby.
Well, and the reason this is important for the seasonal is because there are several vendors like farmers markets, and because the app is dedicated to trying to help some of the smaller vendors get attention, they're not open all the time. So most of the time they'd be going to see when they're open.
For the farmers markets, yeah.
For the farmers markets, or even the other vendor, you know, like is Chez Robin still open? It's you know, because here Depanneurs are open until 10 o'clock at night. Is this local grocery store open, or do I have to go to the big box one?
So is that something they might want to filter
by the time? Oh yeah, actually by that's a good point.
Okay, let's maybe try this using a variation on the same same layout. Call this vendors, but
that's going to be time instead of calendar.
Yeah, like guess an hourglass maybe. I don't know.
The other thing that's helpful for this is we get to see how to actually use the app properly.
Yeah, you mean Balsamiq?
Yeah,
you can use
Balsamiq properly. Yeah, like you could do things so much faster than we.
It's always good practice for me too. Okay, so the primary thing is going to be location.
Yeah, for sure. They want to be nearby.
Okay, let's see. Let's try something a little different this time, because they may want to search. It sounds like you want the ability to search by name, but that's going to be less
prominent.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
So let's just move this out of the way for now. Let's keep this. Maybe the bigger one is, since it's an app, we should easily be able to say, find my location. And let's see, let's give this one a label. Just kind of clear out some space for now. Location. What are the location, say the location radius?
Well, we have a walking radius.
Uh-huh.
So we actually had that in our other one because we know how.
No, we didn't have it in the other one.
It was 500 meters? Anyway, there's a walking location was within 500 meters, and then there was a driving location which was within 10 minutes of drive. And then,
okay.
So there's like basically walking, driving, or metroing, or
okay.
subwaying. You know,
Oh,
like
really?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think that far either.
Well, when we were
know.
doing the other vendor
know,
thing, we had to put the distances because that wasn't kind of an important thing. So it's like, do you want them to go by public transit? Do you want to so that they can do what they want, or bike? Because some of them will bike in, some of them will walk. Especially in our group, some of them will bike for sure.
But do we want them searching by that? Like
well, so that's
yeah,
you're gonna go like within 500 meters.
Because no, but because that does make sense because we said it opens into Google Maps, and then Google Maps has those 3 options. They choose what they're gonna do with that. Remember when they're getting directions? So I don't think our app has to think of how they're gonna get there. But he's asking because we need to know, so that they know like what they're. Because the thing is, right now we're starting in Verdun, but it will be eventually Montreal, the entire city, wide.
Yeah, which is why we need the closest to the farthest.
But
so
I don't
it's
think
basically within so like the first one is within so many meters, the second one is within so many kilometers.
Yeah.
I'll try this first, and then we can try try the other option too.
Yeah, we have kilometers instead.
That's fine. It's a better system actually. Probably say. And then I don't know if you need this, but this is going to be a little button that says like find my location or something.
That could like
yeah, that's definitely cool. That we need because we want them to be able to find the places close by. That's part of the
right.
But again, the location could be like we could limit it to the 4 options or 5 options.
Well, yeah, but we have to figure out what exactly we want it to look like for them. So let's see what.
I don't know if we need this, but I'm just putting it there. And then what? And then so hours. Oh yeah, and then we're going to do a search, kind of a smaller search. Let's say vendor name. Make this a little bit smaller this time, and then hours, something like that. Probably don't need that. Vendor name, this is going to be, we'll see what this is.
I'm wondering if we need a little search box for the 3 types of vendors. Because we only have 3 types of vendors. We have the local vendor, the local grocery store, the farmer's market, and like the independents, the farmer's market, and then the big box or whatever you call them.
That's true. That could be interesting. Some people yeah, that is something that could be interesting.
Because that's our 3 types of ideal vendor clients, and so that would also be.
That sounds kind of important.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said what are the 3 types?
There's a local.
So independents, grocery stores, and farmers markets.
And markets, yeah. Well, farmers markets, fine.
Just
yeah, and markets, yeah.
Okay, we can change, get the exact labels.
Maybe that could even be like I'm thinking aloud here, but maybe like a thing that they check off, because maybe they care about either going to farmers market or local, but they don't want to go to. Nah, I don't know.
Yeah, like it would be a check off rather than a,
Yeah,
You mean
than
you
a
saying
choice. Yeah, like a radial button or something. Like where you
Right.
can say, you know how you say I only want to go to farmers markets. Like, is that they could be in the
Yeah, it could
summer
be a
and they only want to go to farmers markets. They want to see all the farmers markets that are in the app, or they want to see
Right.
locals or farmers.
Yeah, only locals or farmers. I'm only interested in, you know, so like you could choose.
A check off.
It's only the three. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I intended with this. I think it's a little more touch friendly than the checkboxes.
Okay.
okay.
But the intention is that you can, and with these you can check multiple ones. So I can do
Yeah.
local and
Okay,
this,
perfect.
and
Awesome.
so
Oh,
that's,
what's it called? What's that thing called?
this is called the button bar. So sometimes it's used where it's like you can only have one. Sometimes it's multiple. So it kind of can behave as a radio button or
Oh, that's cool.
Okay.
That would be nice, because then you could have a nice picture on it too.
but just kind of, so yeah. So for example, maybe the $ one, it would be more exclusive. So one, you can only choose one.
Yeah.
So
this could be
let's
more.
see.
Okay.
Maybe let's try the, maybe we'll need another line here, but yeah, let's just do another line for this.
Well, we can just take off one of the vendors, right?
Yeah, that under,
Yeah, and this is all flexible.
Well, the location is also taking a lot of room. But
It's fine. I mean, people, you know, it's fine to scroll here. So that's not a problem. It's just visually making it nice and clean. So so yeah, something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I can actually see them going through.
All right, let's see if we can try one more page, because so far we've done the like list pages. So we have two templates so far. One is the top level. One is one level down from that, when you've gone from the top level to one level down, and then we can try one more template where you're going into the individual single item view, you could say. And you know what, let's just because we need to remind ourselves that somehow they need to get around, let's just throw in one of these kind of default hamburger menu navigation things. So somehow when you click on this, yeah, you actually, that's a good place to do the log out too. And somehow when they click on this, they're going to get a menu that allows them to
go to other, awesome, that's good.
Or whatever. So let's see, they've chosen either a recipe or a vendor or a product. I'm thinking that what we're going to want there is like the first thing they're going to want to, or that we want to see here is a photo. So let's get rid of these. And this is going to be this, and then we're going to do a big photo. And then hopefully this page will be a little bit easier, because I think it's just not going to have as much. It's going to be more like a document. I'm thinking it will involve a lot of text, so describing it, and maybe an area of with some basic information. So in the case of a recipe,
like a little calendar, no matter which one, they need the calendar.
No, if it's a vendor. No, but he's thinking like if it's a recipe, you need like ingredients, prep time, whatever. If it's the vendor, you need the name, the location.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. so so we can use some of that from these. So in the case of, oh, those are the,
yeah, this is vendor. It's just the first one.
I'm gonna kind of get rid of these. So, right. I know what I'm gonna
Just
do.
we just had to copy that one. And
Yeah.
Duplicate
we get
this.
the idea.
Yeah. And then the recipe, it's going to be some other things. So it's going to be kind of your, I don't know if we even need to do this. This is kind of, what do we call this? Meta information, or I don't know, we'll just call it the kind of the info section, the key info section. And then I think that we'll be able to remember what goes there. So it'll be kind of similar to what we've used on these kind of profile cards. So whatever is in the filter
Will be in the info.
a lot of ways is reflected. Yeah, and just visually it might look a little bit different, but in the case of product, it's going to be maybe this text is going to be a long description. This is going to be a little bio about the vendor. In the case of the recipe, this is actually going to be the step-by-step instructions. And there might be definitely some things that I'm missing here, but those will probably come clear as you start doing the designing. In the case of a vendor, you're also going to have a map, I guess. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. So as a reminder, I think, so in here you have the map of all vendors and the directions, but I think, doesn't it make sense for the directions to be in the vendor profile?
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
Once
actually.
into a vendor, then you see
click the map of the all vendors, they're going to be going on a specific one, and that's why they're going to end up with the Google directions.
Well, that's what he's saying. Is that if map of all vendors, you choose the one you want, you click, you go to the profile, and then from there, that's where you get the directions.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
it might be nice to have a map view of the vendors. And that's maybe something.
That's what we were thinking with the map of.
Just a reminder. You know how like when you search for hotels, sometimes you can do the list of the hotels, or you can do kind of on a map view. So that's going to be kind of a different layout entirely. So it'll be kind of a little reminder for next time.
Yeah.
But I think if they were going to the vendor list, they would have gone to the map in the first place, like from the other, like they wouldn't go to the product. They wouldn't search on that. They would just go from the map at the beginning. Like on our.
Yeah. Are you thinking that the map would be something that they can click from this page, from the vendor's page? They can click into like map view?
Yes.
Okay.
We can even show that visually, and and this would have to kind of be tweaked a little bit, but let's say by default we'll kind of show this as selected, and this is grayed out. So just
okay, I see. So they have list, or they have view.
That we're looking at the list view. Yeah. And so that would be an entirely different looking interface, where it would actually have that it would basically just be a map that you can zoom in on, and
that'd be almost the entire screen.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like how you did that.
So something like that. Yeah. So now we've got kind of our 3 templates. I didn't get too much detail in this, but I think that once we have this, you guys can kind of run with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe that's an okay place to stop.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Great. Well, yeah, as you can see, having this sitemap really, or all the work you did on those spreadsheets led to the sitemap, which then allowed us to build the UI. I feel like we went through the process in the right way. So kind of building from a high level, who's using it, what are they using it for? Okay, let's start to visualize how all those activities and goals might be related to each other. And now let's see if we can actually build an interface that reflects all of those. So I think that the way that this process has gone, I mean, you know, you could kind of see that doing the UI was actually fairly easy once we had all this stuff, you know, and just having a little bit of UI design experience, like I'm able to look at the sitemap and say, okay, you know, really kind of easily visualize, like it came to my head right away. And I don't know if this is necessarily the best way, for example, you know, but that being able to see this made the UI design much easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
well, we really enjoyed doing all of the user experiences and things too, because we could imagine what people were actually thinking as they were doing it, which I think is useful anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that helped tremendously. I mean, doing that hard work up front. I mean, that was the hard work, that user experience stuff, and then it just makes everything else kind of falls into place after that. So,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
well done on thinking through all that and making all those hard decisions.
Well, thank you so much for your help today.
Yeah.
And I guess you'll be able to share this with.
I will share this file with you. Yes. So you can make edits to it as well. So.
All right.
Yeah. Well, we'll take it forward from. I mean, now we have a
here.
rough idea of what we are actually.
Yeah.
What aim we're doing, and now we can communicate with somebody who actually wants to design things. It's like it makes it much more easy.